Dog.
Mike, it's good to see you. We are celebrating an anniversary today.
We
Happy
are.
birthday, Mike.
Happy birthday. This is happy birthday to the Sports Hangover. We're going on 15 years. We started it in November of 2010, 20, somewhere around there. It's been a long, long time.
2009. I was still
Yeah.
in college. This was before my college graduation. And you're right, people. We should have been making more money the last 15 years on this podcast. That was your first thought. That was our first thought. Everyone's correct about it. But here we are. We're still doing it. I think there's a lot of credit, Mike. We've been arguing for 15 years. I think back to the great duos of sports debate. Mike and Mike in the morning. Chris Mad Dog Russo and Mike Francesa. J-Dog and Mike Benatar. It's like we're all in the same class at this point.
What can I say? They're no longer all together either. It's like Stephen H. Smith and all those guys. Everybody's gone. They've all moved on. Some of them aren't even on air anymore. So we're here still.
Are you trying to tell me something? Are you gonna go start your own thing, or are we gonna keep this going?
This is the end. Yeah, 15 years. We're gonna end it. But really, I do want to say, like, looking back, we were so ahead of the time, and I feel like it was more work than we ever needed to do. We did video back in 2011, exclusively YouTube video. And now we're like, you hit a button and we're streaming to YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. We're everywhere right now.
I want to do the podcast long enough where we can take our AI selves from 2011, my full hair, you had no wrinkles on your face, go back to those days and have those people talk in the current sports terms with our voices. When that can happen, Mike, maybe in 2025, let's get those videos published.
It's going to happen soon because we're already, if you don't know, you can subscribe to us on the TSH daily feed. It is an AI version of myself reading all the sports headlines of the day. And it's actually really great. It has all updated information, everything going on. If you want like a minute and a half information dump every day, just subscribe to the Sports Hangover Daily. It's out there. You can get it on all platforms. It's great. This is our one live show. It doesn't go out Monday because obviously we're here on Mondays, but Tuesday through Friday, you have a live feed of sports news.
Don't tell people it's AI. It's your voice. Your wife couldn't tell it wasn't your voice.
It is my voice.
It is actually Mike, and just stick with that. You're hosting 5 days a week. You're working hard for the podcast.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Jeremy, I think we got to talk about the election. A lot of feelings, I feel like, from your side of voters. I felt like I just kept seeing compilations of like liberals crying. It was just like a weird thing. I don't know what happened, but I felt like people on the Democratic side literally thought they were just like, we're going to win this, no problem. And I feel like the night started. I don't know if you were watching like the polls come in.
Oh, yeah.
I started watching the night come in. I'm like, I think Trump's running away with this. All the betting markets had Trump winning. And I think next election, if you just see the betting markets, I feel like that might be the trend. And I know a lot of people are saying betting markets don't count. It's just white guys voting. But it seemed like it was actually correct in a weird way.
It might be that polls don't count and betting markets tell the whole story. That might be the more accurate way to tell what's going on here. Trump has now outperformed his polling 3 straight times. Wow. I did not vote for him, Mike, but I will say he's on one of the most impressive runs in U.S. political history. If we're talking about sports here, put the guy in the Political Hall of Fame for everything he's done. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm not saying he's known for having a good reputation. What I'm saying is the guy can control the country with his little puppet fingers, like Mutual Friend does in our fantasy league. Just puppet finger the country. That's what he's doing. He's got it on lock. Every state between here and my new home on the East Coast voted for him. I can fly over 20 states on the way to the East Coast, and every single one gave him more support than 2020. It was a blowout. It was the line was close. It was supposed to be like 50-50, and Trump blew out Kamala. It was a beatdown, and we all have to come to grips with it.
And it was the only other president next to, like, I don't even know who it was, some guy back in like the 1800s that ever won an election after he lost an election and came back and won an election. So yeah, he's like comeback king right now. He came back, won it, and now we're here. Now I feel like, and it's weird, after elections, it feel like you think things change and nothing changes. And I don't know why every year, every 4 years, everybody gets all like up in arms about everything, and then it's just like we forget about politics for 4 years.
Well, this
and then it
one
comes
feels
back
like
around.
he might be making some significant changes, Mike. If he follows through with what he's talking about, they're going to be significant. We'll see. So far, the changes are to my investments because everything is up, everything is green.
up. Yes.
My Coinbase account has never been higher.
Yeah.
So for all the negatives that this guy brings with him into the office, we'll take the bump in the stock market and Coinbase. We'll see what else happens. My question for you is, did you make money on Trump's win? Were you on the right side of that?
I was on the right side of it. And, you know, beforehand, I was saying, like, hey, you should bet on Kamala to win the popular vote. I never bet that, but obviously that was wrong as well. You just needed to bet on one side. And that's the thing with, like, I listen to a lot of guys talk about the gambling markets of the election. And since it technically is a 50-50, right? Like, one person can win. There's no, like, real odds, like polling.
Well, you would
market.
have wanted it to be like 33, 33, 33 with RFK getting a third, but he got wiped out early.
But once RFK jumped over the Trump, I kind of knew, like, that's the winning team right there. But yeah, it is interesting. I think the next election will be interesting to see how people take the betting markets. Is that more of an accurate like polling average of everything, because people are actually putting their money instead of just like, oh yeah, I'm voting for this person? Because I think in a way, I feel like there's like, I don't know why, but I feel like there's like secret Trump people, because I don't know if you saw California. Remember that prop I was talking about? Like the people going to jail for actually stealing stuff?
Yeah,
that passed. And the governor was pissed. He's like, where the hell do I live? It's like, you live in California and people are fucking robbing stuff. We don't want that anymore.
Mike, can I just tell you, we talked about this last week, real life example over the weekend. I went to CVS and me and the store manager went on a tour of CVS. He opened 3 different things for me. I was like, no, we got to go to the Zyrtec. No, we got to go to the toothpaste. The toothpaste is now locked up. I didn't know the toothpaste was. We went to 3 different places. And I was like, are they paying you extra because you're doing all this? He's like, no. It's like, this thing is broken. It's an LA thing, maybe. Maybe it's in New York City too. The crime thing we can put on the side. But yeah, I think people are so shocked at how it wasn't 50-50. Like all the polls were coming out 50-50. 51-49. It was a blowout. And I think my takeaway from that, if we can just get political for a real second here, is I thought, no way in hell this country witnessed January 6th and said, let's do more of that. Mike, when I say that, I am an elitist. I'm an elitist for saying that, because people who don't have enough money to feed their families, they don't worry about democracy. They don't worry about high-level shit like that. I am very lucky to have my food I can pay for. Some things I can afford. Most people, a lot of hard workers can't, and that became the number one thing. And the Democrats were trotting out Beyonce and paying Oprah $1 million per appearance and all this stuff, and people just need money to pay for their groceries, and that is what mattered in the end, and that's something that the Democrats have to grapple with because they got their messaging completely wrong.
I mean, Jeremy, I didn't want to say it before, but you know, I'm always like on top of the trends. Like I know what's going on. I feel like I see what's coming. I don't know why you didn't jump on board with me. I was talking about it months ago. Like, hey, I think this might be the right way. We also had a talk in the car with our mutual friend about it, and he got a little heated on the way home.
I thought white dudes for Harris would come out, but no, it was white dudes all voting for Trump. Millennial men are like the only group of men that may have voted for Kamala. Everyone else above us and below us definitely supported Trump.
Yeah, it was just a very weird thing, and now I feel like everybody's breaking it down. Like, why do we lose? Why do we do this? It's just such a different conversation than I thought it was all going to go. If Harris won, it felt like it was going to be a conversation of like, look how good they did. Look at all this, and it's just interesting. That's like. It was almost like everybody was blinded by the fakeness coming out of her in a sense, but I don't know. So here we are.
I don't know if I can take the ridiculous headlines. Like we can agree, like Trump says ridiculous things. Sometimes he does them, sometimes he doesn't. But like, I'm not sure about the next 4 years of like bizarre things happening. I feel like kind of tired of that. What do you think?
I mean, it was weird because I think when we were all locked inside for that year of 2020, we had to like turn on the news at 3 o'clock because no one was doing anything and the roads were empty. And we were just like checking in, like what's going on in the news? And we see Trump like talking about this. And then we see like death tolls on CNN every day. It's like, oh my God, what's happening? I think that was like what I remember of his presidency. I don't remember from 2016 to 2020 at all, really, except for the COVID times. But yeah, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, here we are. I don't know.
He sent stimulus checks. He may have contributed directly to our inflation problem that we have 4 years later, that he won the election on because there's inflation. If you call that a long con, I'd be impressed. There's a lot of factors, and we'll see what happens. A lot of jockeying going on at Mar-a-Lago, West Palm Beach right now to see who's going to be in the cabinet. He's got a war room set up. He's bringing in all of his cronies. I think he's going to be no holds barred. He's got control of the Senate, maybe control of the House. It's his last term. I think he's going to do the shit that he's talking about. And if that happens, we'll see what America looks like.
Well, I'm excited to see. I mean, hopefully our pockets keep getting bigger and stock keeps going up. And crypto, who knows, could hit Bitcoin could hit $100,000 by the end of this conversation when you're listening to this. I don't know where it's at right
Mike,
now. I think it's over.
let's break down crypto for 30 seconds here. It is
Yeah.
Monday, November 11th. It's around 6 p.m. Eastern time. Are we at the top of crypto, or should people still be adding to their Coinbase accounts as we speak because there's so much more room to go?
Listen, if you're in it for the long game, I would say we're not even close. And I feel like you could talk to a lot of crypto people. I'm sure your brother might know more than me.
Yeah.
But I would just say if this is the long game and you're looking at this of like, hey, I have a Bitcoin IRA and a retirement account, or I have something like that, or you're just holding Bitcoin, hodl, you want to hold it forever, I would say hold it, because once all the Bitcoins are mined, I think it's going to continue to keep going up. And listen, the last few years, it's kind of fluctuated. Like you could have bought it at 15, you could have bought it at 25, back up to 65 at the high after 2021 or 2. I just think right now, keep buying it. I buy it every week, just little bits here and there. And who knows what it's going to be. If one day every coin is worth $1 million, I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, I wish I got some of that. So if you just put what you can, buy a little, hold it, and see where it goes. I mean, even Ethereum is way up. Everything's up. So it's a great time for crypto. I'm sure in the next year, we're going to see a lot more like, a lot more of those like crypto memes probably shoot up a little too. But
yes, diamond eyes, all of that.
Yeah, all that stuff. So
the Coinbase stock too, by the way, that's like where crypto is held, is also surging. Happy to be a Coinbase stockholder. That might also have room to run. So there is money in our pockets today, Mike. I just want to ask. I was going to transition there. Did you have something else to add?
Oh, I did have one other thing. I've had this thing that I've been using. It's kind of fun. It's called Autopilot, and it's like an AI stock trader, and you can pick like portfolios. So like you can pick inverse Kramer, Kramer on whatever MSNBC
fade
or whatever.
Kramer is a popular thing. Yeah.
So you could do the inverse Kramer. He's up 56% this year. You do the Pelosi tracker, which I'm on board with.
That's a great
up 54% this year. And it just auto trades. Every time she dumps, buys, sells, it automatically does it for me. So it's been kind of fun in the last few months. I've been using it. I think it's like you pay $100 a year, but if you're putting a lot of money into it and like, hey, I'm up literally 50% this year on my stocks, it seems kind of fun. And I try not to dabble in like individual stocks other than this when it's like gamified a little for me.
You made a good point earlier in the show that you like to see trends before they come. And I think what you're telling us is AI is controlling certain things. AI is running your fantasy team at this point. AI is running your stock portfolio. Maybe AI should be running your 5 picks every week. AI is the trend that we should all be considering. AI will be doing this podcast in the next couple of years.
I hope so, yeah.
Well. And we already have the other podcast that you mentioned. I want to talk about your picks this week, Mike. You've been upset with your son, the Red Rifle. You banished him over the weekend because he's cost you a couple of weeks of bad betting. Tell the people how you did. You sent him on vacation this weekend. How did that work out for your bets?
Listen, with my son out of the house, my wife out of the house, a little more time to focus. Me and mutual friend had some conversations. We talked about stuff, but also we talked multiple times, and that's what we got away from. We stopped talking multiple times a week. We got a little cocky last year. We won so much money, but this is our quarter. We're getting back in shape. We're going to try to win some money here. We're almost going to go 5-0 if the Rams tonight can cover by 2.5.
I think they will. I think so.
The Dolphins aren't doing great, but I think it's just like you got to spend time doing it. And also this week, a lot of underdogs hit, and I think also we've also been so big on underdogs throughout the whole season, and none of them have really been hitting lately. Even that parlay that I put together that I sent to our group chat was just like I had, I don't know, 6 or 7 underdogs win. I put $5 in it, won $260 on it or something, which is ridiculous. Wow. That's why I put $5 on it.
Nice.
But I just think, I'm trying to get back into it, try to focus a little more. I felt like I was pretty on point. So we'll see how this week does. I mean, we can talk about last week too. I feel like I got some bullshit to believe. I don't know what you got.
There's some things to talk about. I'm just impressed that you got back to basics. You sent your son and wife away like it was 2015 again before you ever met either one of them, and you just got back down to the basics. And you came out maybe 5-0. I do think the Dolphins lost in LA last night. I'm mad at the Dolphins. It's a real life story, Mike. I've been going around hotels here in LA for a while. Yeah. My favorite hotel's in Manhattan Beach. I couldn't stay there this weekend because my team, the Miami Dolphins, are staying there for the Rams game. They don't sell the rooms to other people. So I wish I could have pulled the fire alarm on the Dolphins, make sure they lose. I want them to lose all the games, tank, get rid of everyone. It's a debacle. It's a debacle there.
So it's all over. You're done with them.
Yeah, I'm pretty much okay. A few things from yesterday. I know we're gonna get to your picks coming up for next week too. Yesterday, you have a bullshit or believe too. Can I just talk about Drake May beating the shit out of Caleb Williams? How lovely. An unknown rookie, one that we don't even talk about on this podcast. Yeah. We've talked about Drake May for 3 minutes the last year.
Well, he was the third overall pick, right?
He was benched early. Like he wasn't supposed to be very good. Some people said bench him all year. He destroyed the Bears. He destroyed Caleb Williams in Chicago at Soldier Field in front of the Bears fans. And I know you were just so happy throughout that whole game.
I just think it's like, are people delusional? Like Caleb, after that, I have something on my notes. It's like after Caleb lost to that Hail Mary game, he's been defeated. You saw him on the sideline. He was like upset. He was emotional. And we talked about this last year when he was at USC and he was crying to his mom in the stands. This man is not built for the NFL. He needs to go through like some kind of emotional training because he's going to end up like a Jay Cutler where he just like shows his emotions too much and it sways the game. This man is not a starting QB. I don't think he's going to make it very far. I mean, even Bryce Young got his mojo back yesterday. He was looking happy. He won a game. He was like moving and grooving. I think he finally understood, like, you can run around, get out of the pocket, like just move. Like, don't get hit every single time. I don't think Caleb gets it. I think he was a little entitled, and I still hope for his downfall. I don't think he's going to be a great QB, and it just shows the Chicago Bears organization might not be operated very well because they had a lot of options, and Justin Fields could have done probably just as good last year.
I think he would have. I think you sent a stat recently where Justin Fields, or maybe I sent a stat. Justin Fields and Caleb Williams had the same amount of yards through the first 7 games of the season, and they had the same amount of points through the first 7 games of the season as Fields had last year with a broken offense, and Caleb has this year with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze and all the weapons, DeAndre Swift, that they got for him. It's really ugly and bleak. His body language is bad. His attitude is bad. His leadership is bad. Of course the Bears have a problem. They kept that dumbass head coach that led them last year to terribleness, and they brought him back. So, like, the Bears are broken. Caleb is broken. I just know you loved that yesterday.
Do you want to do some bullshit or believe?
Yes.
All right. I got the board in front of me. I tried moving it a little bit so we can get a little action here. Bullshit or believe time. Bullshit or believe time. Bullshit or believe.
By the way, first bullshit or believe, if you're watching the video, Mike's sweater, do you believe in it or is it bullshit? Because there's some mixed feelings. I came on asking if it's an ugly sweater. I think he was offended by that. So I haven't mentioned it since, but let's just put it out there for the people if you're watching right now.
Jeremy, if you're not watching, this is an Italian wool sweater. Okay? This is quality Italian wool on my body right now. It feels fantastic. We are here. It is a little chilly out in LA. You got a sweater on. I got a sweater on. Italian wool right here. It's a little, there's a print going on.
There's a print. There's a design. I hope people are watching. This is more reason to watch us live on YouTube, live on all of our video platforms. You're missing the sweater if you're only listening.
Yeah, you're definitely missing it.
Okay.
All right. Let's do the bullshit or believe. All right. Here's my first one. Bullshit or believe. Are the Steelers going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, believe. They are. The Steelers have a new savior. It was Ben Roethlisberger for a lot of years. Seriously.
It was.
The city of Pittsburgh worshipped him, and they traded for Russ, and they traded for Justin Fields, and they're like, is this going to work? There's 2 quarterbacks. The city of Pittsburgh is now worshiping Russell Wilson. We did not see this coming, but all you have to do is win games in Pittsburgh. They don't care if you do it pretty or ugly. They don't care if you just throw Hail Marys to George Pickens all the time. They don't care if you're a weird dude. They don't care if you have weird catchphrases. Just win games. And he's 3-0 as a starter. Mike Tomlin, by the way, coach of the year. He's running a master class as he usually does. I don't like giving the Steelers all this credit, but it's amazing how good they look.
It is kind of crazy. It's not exciting to watch them. Like, yes, George Pickens, he can catch balls.
They're still Mike Tomlin. Come on.
It's just like, it is such a grind to watch them sometimes. And I just think the way they play, I don't know how they do it. They just grind teams down. It's just like, we are so bored. It's like when I play with you in Madden or something, or NCAA. It's like
you get so bored.
You just grind me down. It takes you like 40 minutes to drive the field, and it takes me 2 seconds. Then I'm
West
back
Coast
on
offense, Mike. I have a lot of completions. I keep the clock ticking. Keep your defense on the field.
It's such a boring way to do football, but he does it. And I put a little bet in just to see. I think it was like 24-1 odds on Steelers doing the Super Bowl. Might as well jump on chip, right? Like, here we are. I should have done it earlier, but when Justin Fields was playing, I didn't have as much confidence. I'm glad Russ is back. Russ is back. He's cooking.
Russ is back, and if he ever gets hurt, like Fields is there, and Fields like we believe in now too. So now it's like they have two good quarterbacks. How did this happen? They went from Kenny Pickett, small hands, to two good quarterbacks.
All right, my next one, bullshit or believe. Who is more disappointing? What team is more disappointing? Are the Jets or the Cowboys more disappointing?
Oh God, is this a first take topic? Is this like a way that we have to talk about them? I feel like even though they're so irrelevant, that's all ESPN talks about for these two teams. It's the Jets because Aaron Rodgers is active and healthy and still throwing passes. Dak Prescott is not. And so we have to stop judging the Cowboys as a whole without Dak, even though it was ugly with him, of course. But the Jets are the current Jets. This is the Jets. This is their team. Yeah. They haven't had the injuries. This is Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers and Breece Hall. And everyone all offseason was slurping that Jets D about what a good running back they have, what a good receiver they have with Garrett Wilson. Aaron Rodgers' leadership. It is a debacle. The Cardinals, I don't think, are a good team. I really don't. And they blew their asses out. They blew the Jets' asses out yesterday.
It's just weird because, like, the Jets had so much hype. What I always want to make notes before season and then, like, 6 games into season because I feel like we forget what the narratives are when we're going into the season. It's like Caleb Williams going to be elite. The Jets are going to be unstoppable. They're going to the Super Bowl. It's just, like, wild stuff we just start making up. And here we are. The Jets looks terrible. Rodgers, God knows this man just might retire at the end of the year and just go hide in a dark cave and do his dark retreat. But I don't know what's happening there. And then on the other side, the Cowboys, not to mention their terrible stadium window placement for all their light in there.
It happened again.
Yeah, but it's like they also have blinds that they can put up because they've done it before. But I just feel like Dak was never the elite guy. And now they have Cooper Rush. They played him for a little bit, put Trey Lance in. They're both terrible. I just don't know, like, is Dak the answer? Like, is this team actually going to turn it around? I don't know how bad the injury is. I don't know, like, obviously he's going on IR, but I don't know. You return from this. Obviously, you should be okay. But next season, are we excited about it? Like, are they going to keep the same coach? Like, Jerry's just like, whatever. Like, we're not making any changes. Like, shut up. Like, just play the game. That's all. I don't know what he does.
Jerry won't fire anyone during the season, which is like, in what world did you become a successful money guy and like not cut loose bad leadership in the middle of transactions, in the middle of high profile things? You'd think if he applied his business mind, he would get Mike McCarthy out of there now. He's lost the locker room. Micah Parsons had some huge quotes yesterday. I don't see him getting too much run yet. He said, I feel bad for the guys who have worked here a long time, like Zach Martin. I don't feel bad for Mike McCarthy. He said Mike McCarthy can go somewhere else. He feels bad for the players in the locker room. Yeah, Micah Parsons, a current player, said that. And so I'm questioning what you're saying here, Mike, because you don't support the Cowboys or Dak any month of the year. What makes you think next summer you're going to be singing their praises again? I know you're not, and even I'm not, and I don't think Cowboys fans can until they prove it to us again.
Do you not think it's like, it almost feels like they're like on Groundhog Day? Like every year it's like the fucking Cowboys, they're going to be so good. They're going to go to the play. They're going to do all this, and they never do it. And I don't know what's going on, and it seems like a miserable place to be when your team doesn't like evolve. Even there's like a glimmer of hope in New England. Like, hey, they won a game and they're doing something. Yeah. It's like, hey, we got something going on there. But it's like the Cowboys have like, hey, you guys have all these elite players playing hundreds of $1 million and you can't even win a playoff game. Like something's wrong. So I don't know. It seems messy. It seems like, how can big franchises, $1 billion franchises not see this? And we do. That's what I'm confused
My whole thing is Jerry got rich doing oil, doing something else. I thought you know how to run business, and like he's not even running this business properly. It's so toxic. I know. It's crazy. And Mike, we have a problem with the Cowboys because they're on TV so much, and they're on like Monday Night Football next week, and then a Thursday game, and then Thanksgiving. No one wants to watch these people. They don't even have a quarterback, like you said at this point.
I know. Well, maybe they can see what Trey Lance does. I mean, that guy's been bouncing around. All right, my last bullshit or believe. Yeah. Will the Kansas City Chiefs remain undefeated? I have their remaining schedule if you want to hear it. And you tell me when they lose or if they win. So I think they're playing. Are they playing the Bills next? I think I wrote that down. Right?
Next week in Buffalo. They're going to lose. Boom. Done.
That's it. It's over right there. Okay.
Buffalo is a house of horrors for the Chiefs. They don't normally play well there. The CBS game crew has their whole studio there next week. So they're going to be tailgating out in the parking lot even earlier than normal in the morning. The fans will be hyped. The Chiefs will lose that game. They should have lost to Bo Nix. And when you should have lost to Bo Nix, your loss is right around the corner, let me tell you.
It was crazy because you're watching that game. You're like, oh, it's over. The guy's going to make the field goal. It almost seemed like people slowed down the video of the offensive linemen, they almost like all went down, and everybody else
saw that, Mike. I thought the same
went
thing live.
over.
Seriously.
What happened?
Conspiracy thread. Did you put it in the conspiracy thread? The left side of the line, they all fell backwards.
Yeah.
Like I almost just did. They all went backwards like so easily. You never see that on a kick.
Yeah.
What was that?
Did it seem to you like Kansas City almost knew the count better than the guy snapping the ball, and they almost had like that extra momentum and just pushed everybody over and just got in? It was weird. And that whole left side, you see that one guy just fall flat on his back. Like he's over.
Wait
he's
a
done.
second. This was something that benefited the Kansas City Chiefs, the team
Correct.
that gets every close call late in every game. And now this was a chance for them to lose a game, and the whole left side of the offensive line fell down backwards and let the Chiefs just like 3 guys were going to block that kick.
Yeah.
That never happens. That's like even in
So
Madden,
many
you can't
guys
block a
coming
kick.
from-
It's like 3 guys.
From
Mike,
the right,
you
the
just
left.
uncovered, I think, a tremendous conspiracy theory. The NFL wants the Chiefs to go undefeated, win the Super Bowl because of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. They're pumping this narrative all the way. You just discovered it by what you just said. I'm so on board because I was watching it live and I thought the exact same thing.
Can I say another conspiracy theory? I think Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Kelce retires. It's over. He retires on top. And here, I'll read the remaining schedule. They have the Panthers. They have the Raiders. They have the Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, and Broncos one more time at the end of the season.
Steelers, Christmas Day on Netflix. What if the Chiefs are undefeated until... What if you're undefeated all year except for the one time you're on Netflix? Are you undefeated all year?
In a way, yeah. I mean, Christmas Day is going to be fun. I'm excited for football. Sometimes I wish Netflix could do picture-in-picture. Remember, I mean, a lot of people that might be listening might not even remember, but TVs used to do picture-in-picture. No problem. You could have one picture up and another one in the lower box. No issues at all. And now it's just like, we can't do that at all on any TV.
Why are you trying to watch NBA on Christmas Day with your Netflix football?
Maybe it would be nice to have like a quad box going or something, but yeah. So I don't know. So
Nice. If
they're undefeated,
I like this.
Just mark my words. They win the Super Bowl. Kelce retires. And it's a big party, Taylor Swift, and that's kind of the end of the Taylor Swift era there.
I thought he would retire after last year. He hasn't been very good. He's been doing better the last few weeks. He looked slow the first month of the year. As we talked about, he's traveling Europe all summer, so no surprise there. We'll see if they really go undefeated. I do think they lose to the Bills. We're going to get to your picks in a minute, so we're going to tease that. Can I do a quick J-Dog Takes On first?
Do it, yeah. Hold on. I got it right here. Here we go.
I know you have it.
J-Dog Takes On.
The Broncos-Chiefs conspiracy was not my only thought of yesterday watching football. This one I'm really proud of.
What do you got?
Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers head coach, he doesn't know ball. He actually doesn't know ball, and I figured this out yesterday, and it's really exciting to take him on right now. Because I saw a tweet. It was from a 49ers beat reporter. I got to give that guy credit. I don't know who said it, but one of their beat reporters. He said, Purdy keeps playing like this. Shanahan is going to trade 3 first-round picks to draft Cam Ward in the draft. Cam Ward's this exciting quarterback from Miami. And so it got me thinking, this guy goes through so many quarterback busts. It's crazy. And then I started making a list. Wait, he had Jimmy G in San Francisco. They traded for him from the Patriots and Belichick. He was a bust. They traded all those picks, all those first-round picks for Trey Lance. We saw Trey Lance with the Cowboys yesterday. Instant bust. He's terrible.
Yeah.
And now Brock Purdy, who I know he was playing okay in that game. I know they came back and beat the Bucs, maybe with the help of McCaffrey or Debo. He hasn't been good this whole year, and 49ers fans need to understand that they're not playing well because of the quarterback position.
Did you see, though, Debo got a little pissed at the long snapper? Like, tried to fight, like, punched him in the face. Yeah.
It's kind of bad. So, no leadership also from Purdy. But then I kept thinking more. What did Kyle Shanahan do before he's the head coach of the 49ers? Before he rotated through all these shitty quarterbacks, what did he do? Do you know what he was doing?
I have no idea what he did. What did he do?
Happy to tell you, Mike. He was the offensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons, who were winning the Super Bowl 28-3 when they lost to the Patriots. He was the one who wouldn't run the ball and kept throwing the passes so the clock didn't run, so they lost that game. And he's a Nepo baby on top of it all. He's a Nepo baby because his dad, Mike Shanahan, led the Broncos to Super Bowls with John Elway and Ed McCaffrey back in the day. I know it was just a Sunday revelation, but J-Dog is taking on Kyle Shanahan because the guy's a big dummy. He doesn't know football. He's a Nepo baby who keeps screwing up quarterbacks, who has never won a Super Bowl and never will, and Niners fans will refuse to admit it.
It is true. We get a lot of hate when you talk about Niners fans and Brock Purdy and all this stuff.
Tell him about this.
Yeah, a lot of, but I just think it's like they've been injured. I also give them the kicker couldn't make any field goals yesterday, so they would have been up technically 9 points if he actually didn't miss all 3 field goals. So I don't know if I want to blame him, but I will say the kicker was not doing his job. And also, did he come back from injury, or was that the Minnesota kicker? Because the Minnesota kicker, I did not know.
Kicker. But Debo didn't choke the kicker; he choked the long snapper. So who's at fault?
It's true. Yeah. So something else is going on. All right, let's do these picks. I got a whole bunch of picks. Hopefully, I remain hot. Let's start out. Let's do this. I'm gonna fade it. Last week we took the new coach bump. I'm fading them this week. I'm taking Cleveland +3. They're playing the Saints. I'm taking Jameis off a bye. Chubb healthy. They're gonna come out. That new coach bump isn't gonna last all week. Listen, they got to win. I don't think it's coming back to them. And
it's definitely not going to last all week. Did you see he got hurt? By the way, great pick by you. The Saints look so dead. They fire their coach and then they win. So great new coach bump. But did you see he got hurt celebrating? He may have torn his ACL, but he played it cool, and the player was like holding him up. So like people didn't know he was hurt.
I thought he had a heart attack because it looked so weird. Like literally on the field,
awkward.
He kind of like
it looked very awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
I think he was acting like he didn't tear his ACL when he really did.
I thought it was like because one of the players like patted him on the back and shoved him kind of hard from behind. And I was like, did that like trigger something in like his neck and he can't walk now? It was so weird.
Which is such a shame. The guy's been coaching the NFL his whole life, like 30 years. He's head coach for one game. You win out of nowhere. No one has a bets on you except Mike, and then you tear your ACL in the celebration. That's like very cruel.
Yeah, he'll show up in a wheelchair next week. All right, pick number 2. Listen, I'm fading, everybody's boy, Caleb Williams. I'm taking Green Bay -6.5. I feel like Green Bay hasn't been playing that well, but guess who's playing worse? The Bears. And I know this is a big rivalry game and blah, 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 and we're at Soldier Field. I still think Green Bay -6.5. I think they're much better than the Bears. I don't know. I thought at first the Bears had good defense. And then as it keeps going on, I don't know if they have good defense or I don't know. I felt like all the stats at the beginning of the year were like good defense. That's why they're staying in these games. They won some games. But I'm fading them. I'm fading Caleb. I think he's emotionally beat up and can't win any more games because of his emotions.
I agree. Keep doing it as long as you can. Jordan Love off a bye should be okay. He's got to stop throwing interceptions, although Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions in 1, so maybe it's a new thing.
I think that might be more coaching too, because like I feel like most teams don't do that. All right, what do I got here? Baltimore at Pittsburgh. I'm taking Pittsburgh +3. This is going to be a gross game, right? Just gross. It's going to be a boring game. They're going to slow him down, hopefully stop Henry. But Pittsburgh's been rolling. I know sometimes they have trouble scoring. Like it's not always like, they're not scoring 40 points a game, kind of like Baltimore. But I just think this is the team and the spot for them. I think Baltimore played a big game last week and got that win, but they played Thursday night, so they had a little more rest. But I'm taking Pittsburgh here. I like them. Maybe that's not a great pick. Scary pick. You don't like it.
It's a scary pick, and I don't love it. Just because the Ravens, I think, are the best team in the NFL right now. We love what the Steelers are doing, but when you play the best team, there's some issues there. So I wonder if there could be issues with the Steelers stopping Derrick Henry. Have they stopped the run much this year? Can Russell score as much as Lamar? Lamar was like chilling in the first half against Joe Burrow, letting him run up the score, and then he's like, nah, let me do this. And then he just took over the second half and won. Can he not do that to Russ in an easier way?
So, all right. So for home field advantage, technically, if we swap Baltimore at home, Pittsburgh on away, this line would be Baltimore -6. Is that more where you feel like it should be? Because
then you take Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. Yeah.
But you're getting like the home field advantage here. They're coming out. They're playing there. I don't know.
Baltimore's often been Pittsburgh's kryptonite. They're often in those 10-7 games, and you never know who's going to come out of it. It worries me. I know Russ is hot, but I think the Ravens are like the best team in the NFL. Sometimes the teams that win the Super Bowl have a down dip in November, December, and come back. Maybe you time that dip. I think the Ravens are super legit.
We'll see. Next game, Atlanta at Denver. Denver is -1.5 here. Kirk Cousins has to play outside in Denver. We got altitude. We got coldness. Kirk Cousins is an indoor boy going from Minnesota to Atlanta. Perfect dome weather. Playing in a lot of domes this season too. I think this is an easy win for Denver. This is going to get me also my over 5.5 wins for Denver for the season. They're going to go up to 6.
Hitting. It almost happened against the Chiefs. That would have been perfect.
Yeah. So I think this is like an easy spot for Denver. I even put in my notes, play the alternate spread. Play -6 Denver at home. Play it. Get some extra boost odds on there. I'm
Very
really liking
confident.
these alt lines lately.
That's a trend. That and teasers. Someone that we know just discovered teasers.
Yeah. That's how you start losing a lot of money.
Our Texas friend. Listen, I think one thing to know is this game was almost flexed to primetime, and Fox wouldn't allow it to be flexed to primetime. There's some inside information there. Kirk Cousins at primetime would have been even worse, so the bet would have been even more guaranteed for you. But it's during the day. It's at 1 o'clock local time, so maybe that's a bad thing for you. I think the Falcons are better than the Broncos. How did the Broncos almost beat the Chiefs? I watched the game, and I still don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what the Broncos are doing. I don't trust Bo Nix, even though he's decent. So I guess I don't really agree with you.
You're probably not going to agree on this one either. Jags plus 13 at Detroit. We know the Jags are bad. We know Mac Jones is bad. Is Trevor Lawrence coming back? If so, maybe the line moves a little bit. But I really like the Jags here at plus 13. This is the biggest spread of the season. I also looked up stats. Here's some stats. I did a lot of research for this one because I was like, I gotta look up stats. Teams that were underdogs by 7 or more points have gone 7-2 straight up, winning outright, and 8-1 against the spread in the last 5 years. So underdogs performed even better with a record of, this is like an overall record since like 2000 something. They're 54% covering the spread. So you got a little extra there. 13. Now this is just saying 7 or more, but 10 or more. This is 13. I don't know how much line's going to move. I'm sure a lot of money's going to come in on Jags. But 13 is a lot of points. And Mac Jones was terrible. I know that. He was really bad.
I don't know that he is terrible. You're saying that, but they almost beat Minnesota. Was Sam Darnold terrible? Yes. Was Mac Jones worse than Trevor Lawrence has been this year? I don't know that he has. He threw the late interception. They were driving to win the game, though, right?
They were, but also I bet on Minnesota, and like right when it started, I'm like, why did I not know that this kicker was injured and just like coming back? And like it just some facts, like you gotta,
once you reach like week 10 of the season, there's like some weird things going on. Like I started Jake Ferguson in a league yesterday, and I didn't even contemplate the idea that Dak was out would affect Jake Ferguson, the Cowboys tight end.
Sure.
Like, things are happening week 10. You got to keep your head on a swivel, and that's why you kick your wife and your child out of the house to place your bets now, and that's your new system. I heard you're doing that again this Friday. Kick everyone out for the weekend. If you win on Sunday, they're allowed back. If not, we'll see. Can I just mention one more thing about the election for the diehards that stuck around? I'm here in Marina Del Rey. A quick TSH reports before we go. Mainstream media is attempting to understand the right. I saw an exclusive meeting yesterday with Harvey Levin from TMZ, with a Fox News anchor in the lobby of my hotel. TMZ, they're all trying to figure out this new Republican world. And so maybe look for some coverage changes in mainstream media because they may have gotten another election wrong.
Jeremy, we are the media. And, you know, we're on YouTube. YouTube's making a big push. YouTube's like the most watched like streamer of all. Mainstream media is like for people that have cable, and a lot of people don't have cable. You're on the run. You're a nomad. You don't have cable. You just like,
does YouTube TV count as cable? It's kind of cable.
It is kind of cable, but really, do you like to like turn it on just to like have it in the background of noise? Sometimes I guess you have ESPN on in the background.
I do, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I never have it on.
I day part it. I do like CNBC part of the day, ESPN part of the day. You know, at different times, different things.
Soon YouTube will have stuff like that where it's just nonstop live coverage of everything. So we'll get there one day. I did want to mention this Friday is the Mike Tyson Jake Paul game match. So I won the bet on it. For some reason, Tyson is plus 180 to win the fight. I'm like,
he's old. He's like old. That's probably
he's old, but he's insane. And I've saw like practice boxing things of him, and he looks great. I don't know why I'd bet against Mike Tyson. Like, it's Mike Tyson. It's not like it's Jake Paul, a YouTuber, that's going to fight him. I don't believe, unless it's rigged, which it could be, but I hope it's not. But plus 180, I put money on it.
Wait, is this the election theory again, where white men are the ones betting and they're the ones supporting Jake Paul, so that's why the line has swung for him to be a favorite?
I think these are rigged fights. Even the one with what's his name, Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather. Like I felt like that was
not wrestling; it's boxing.
I know, but it just seems weird. Like, how can all these Paul boys keep winning all these fights? It doesn't make sense. They're not real fighters, and they're going up against these like all-time greats. Like, I would not get like if you told me go get in a ring with Mike Tyson in a month and train for it, I'd be like, the man's gonna murder me. Like, I don't know if you've seen his arms and his body. He's in much better shape than probably most of the guys we know. And he's almost, what, 60? Something like that?
I like that. So you bet on Tyson?
Yeah, I bet on Tyson. How could you not bet on Tyson? But I feel like I'm getting tricked, so I'm probably on the wrong side.
I didn't know they're rigged events. Why is Netflix in the business of live events if it's already decided?
Because it's just live events. I don't know, is this like stationed by like whatever, like all those guys that do UFC and everything? Like, is there regulations? Are people on steroids? Or do people have brass knuckles?
I thought it's all regulated. I thought it's legit. It's a sporting event.
I have no idea. I mean, I guess I could bet on it, so it must not be rigged. But I guess can I bet on like WWE?
You can
stuff?
bet on a lot of things that are decided. Those are called soft bets.
Those will be banned for Super Bowl, I understand. So
they will, thanks to you.
Next week is what? Next week is Thanksgiving, right? Or 2 weeks from now?
2 weeks. I'm going away next week. I'm going to Costa Rica. I'm out of office. You're going to try to do a pod with one of our mutual friends, maybe the rich one.
Yeah, and when you get back, right before Thanksgiving, we have to break down our Thanksgiving bets. I got tons of stats.
Okay.
We're gonna win a lot of money for Thanksgiving and just sit there and watch. Where are you gonna be for Thanksgiving?
Mike, unwatchable games on Thanksgiving. Caleb Williams and the Bears, Giants, Cowboys, Dolphins are 4 of the 6 teams playing on Thanksgiving.
Bad. It's bad.
It's really bad. You can't flex any of them. You can't.
No, they're just.
I'll be in Florida. I'll be in Florida for Thanksgiving. I'm going Costa Rica to New Jersey to Connecticut to Florida by the next time I talk to you.
Great. Don't get sick.
Okay.
All right. Good show. Check out the sportshangover.com. Subscribe to us. Also, we should have mentioned this at the top. We have a Substack. You can subscribe there as well.
Yeah.
Get some news, get some of the picks. Maybe some more stuff is on its way. But subscribe there if you want to also listen to it, watch it all in one spot instead of having it in a podcast and YouTube and all that stuff. We're basically everywhere. That's what I'm trying to say. So just search Sports Hangover and subscribe. All right. Good show. See you.
And check out Mike's sweater.
Yes. Check out my sweater.